In 2025, we posted 8 videos in our Flight Numbers Don't Matter series. And throughout those videos, we got hands-on experience in the studio and on the course with over 200 different discs. But what did we actually learn? Hey everyone, it's Greg from Six Sided Discs, and we're recapping our top 6 discs, comparisons, and moments from all of our different series over the next few weeks. But if you haven't seen those videos yet, this is your warning, because there are spoilers galore coming up. So check the links in the video description to watch the full comparisons, analysis, and more from each of these videos. Let's kick things off for our Flight Numbers Don't Matter series at number 6. Which overstable disc flies the farthest? One of our first multi-level tests to feature on Flight Numbers Don't Matter, this video was all about seeing at what speed, both disc speed and arm speed, we see distance start to drop off for different players. Armed with 14 discs from Innova, one for each speed of disc, we put them in the hands of 4 players of very different skill levels. Emily, a very casual player, found her distance topped out with our 11-speed Wraith. But with the Wraith as the clear outlier, she had nearly every other throw finish between 170 and 190 feet. Our friend Josh saw a much clearer trend, gradually improving his distance as the speed of the disc increased, all the way up to his best distances with the Destroyer and Colossus, just over 325 feet. I was next up on the roster and decided to test them out on forehand, and much like Josh, I saw a consistent increase in distance as the speed of the discs increased. Interestingly though, Caleb's results were a little less clear, which is odd because he was definitely the highest arm speed. He saw a few of his fastest discs hit his highest distances, but so did the 6-speed Gazelle, meaning it was a little bit of a mixed result. What's the farthest flying speed disc in your bag? Let us know in the comments below. At number 5, we dive in to surface technologies. In disc design, a lot or nearly all of the focus goes into the shape of the wing, which is the leading edge of the disc. This shape impacts the general flight characteristics of the disc. But what if you begin to manipulate the design of the flight plate itself? Well, this is what thumb track discs are all about. Except Thumbtracks doesn't even begin to cover all the different designs and shapes and approaches that we've seen from modern disc golf manufacturers. Here's just a few of the many different styles that we found. Ergonomic Thumbtracks like the Castoplast Berg or Streamline Range. Rigid Thumbtracks like the Innova Rhino or Pig. Huge reverse domes like the Luft Discs Neon. There's some crazy discs from back in the day like this Latitude 64 Michelin, which has these tiny little hexagonal things to create almost golf ball style dimples. And of course we have the latest Thumbtrack inspired release, the Streamline Turbulence. Certainly not the first driver with surface technology, the Turbulence's Thumbtrack, like most others, reduces glide and increases overstability. A feature that many players like, as it makes discs more reliable and accurate. Do you throw any discs with surface technologies? Let us know in the comments below. While the Turbulence was technically overstable, it doesn't come close to the beefiness of the biggest test we've ever done. In this beef-inspired test of 10 to 14 speed distance drivers, we put over 40 discs to the test to see once and for all what the most overstable distance driver really is. And there were certainly some surprises, like the Latitude 64 Stiletto, a famously overstable disc, along with the Innova Max, famous for the same reason, were both not even close to the beefiest disc around. In fact, the only discs to grace our beef tartar category, reserved for the truly ridiculously overstable discs, were the RPM Kiwi, the MVP Energy, and the DGA Hellfire. That is, of course, if you don't consider the Discmania Tilt a distance driver, which you shouldn't. Oh, and also if you don't include the Doomsday Apocalypse, which is easily the most overstable disc we've ever thrown. Let's dial it back, though, for number 3, as we revisit our first ever Flight Numbers Don't Matter test, the Destroyers. Yep, that's right, the slot that started it all for us was due for a revisit exactly 2 years after our first video in this series. We compared 34 destroyer-y discs to see if we could learn anything we didn't know or learn from our first test. And the first thing we learned, once again, is that not all destroyers are created equal, as we tested 8 different destroyers in different weights and plastics and saw a huge variety in stability. And since the destroyers themselves were so different, we decided to break things down by stability and try to see which of these destroyers these other discs flew like. And it turns out there were some even more overstable discs than your average destroyer, but also some discs that really had no basis on being compared to the destroyer in the first place. What's your favorite destroyer? Let us know in the comments below. Coming in at number 2 is one of our most highly requested comparisons, straight distance drivers. It makes sense that this slot was highly requested given that the MVP Trail is the best-selling disc of the last few years, and it is, allegedly, quite straight. But could we find anything else that fit that slot? Well, the Discmania Enigma wasn't too far off, while the Infinite Discs Sultan was pretty darn straight. The MVP Neutron Catalyst certainly deserved an honorable mention, while the Prodigy D3 came in second. But surprise, surprise, no one could dethrone the MVP Trail except for another trail. That's right, the MVP Proton Trail was crowned the straightest distance driver, a result no one saw coming. How much do you love the trail? Let us know in the comments below. And that brings us full circle to our number 1 Flight Numbers Don't Matter moment of 2025. Which speed flies the farthest? Yep, the comparison format that spawned number 6 in today's countdown also comes in at number 1. 2025 was definitely the year of the multi-level comparison for us here at Six Sided Discs. And this was our first attempt at throwing this many discs with this many players. And frankly, I think it yielded some very interesting results. For this test, we used neutral to understable Discraft discs, ranging from 1 speed all the way up to 13. And we included some of their most popular molds, like the Luna, Buzz SS, Cicada, Scorch, and Thrasher. My wife Emily kicked things off, but after a few shorter distances with the putters, she settled into some very consistent distances with basically everything else. Barely a 20-foot difference between them. Our friend Josh, on the other hand, saw a very steady increase in distance as the disc speed increased, which to a certain extent is what we expected, though we were anticipating that to maybe drop off depending on your arm speed. My forehand was a little bit less clear, as some of the discs are definitely not ideal for a forehand grip. And Caleb, our MA1 thrower, saw similar results, with a few outliers here and there. But he did still see distances steadily increasing. And for us, this sort of proves that faster discs do fly farther on average for almost every player. This whole idea of flight numbers don't matter came mostly out of my frustration for how people shopped for discs, blindly making decisions to buy discs from other brands just because they had the same flight numbers, not really taking into consideration so many other crucial factors. And hopefully some of you have found it helpful to see these discs compared against one another and help you make the right choice when you purchase your next disc. What would y'all like to see from Flight Numbers Don't Matter in 2026? Let us know in the comments below. For Six Sided Discs, I'm Greg. We'll see you in 2026. If you like this content and want to see more, please consider liking the video, subscribing to our channel, or becoming a member. Your support makes this content possible.